This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. 4 Manitoba First Nations are calling on the federal government to make wildfire prevention a priority. It comes as more than 6,000 people from the Island Lake region alone remain out of their homes because of wildfires. And as the CBC's Gavin Axelrod reports, they are calling on the provincial government to do more to avoid future evacuations of the region's 4 fly-in communities.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
The fire near Garden Hill, Anishinaabe Nation, is over 30,000 hectares in size. The community's chief says they watched the fire grow in early July and asked the Provincial Natural Resources Department for help. He says officers told them it wasn't a concern.
We didn't need to be here if we tackled the fire right away. Look at the size now.
Days later, Garden Hill was evacuated for the second time this summer, with members now scattered in cities across Manitoba.
We don't want another community to face what we are facing, to go through what we are going through. It's too much hardship.
Flett and other Island Lake chiefs are calling on the provincial and federal governments to invest more in wildfire prevention, highlighting an independent report from the country's Auditor General saying Indigenous Services Canada spent 3.5 times more on wildfire response recovery compared to prevention between 2009 and 2022.
This is not an emergency system. This is a cycle of failure. Our chiefs and Anishinaabe nations are saying to Canada, the cycle ends now.
They want to see money for community-led fire breaks and suppression teams, funding for infrastructure projects, an all-weather road to reduce reliance on airlifts during evacuations, a national Indigenous fire strategy, and more respect for Anishinaabe leadership. Meanwhile, thousands of displaced evacuees still wait to return home.
We have people in campgrounds. There's a playpen there with a child in it, in a campground. And this is day 30. It gets smoky at times. And it's really hot outside. It's not suitable for people, especially children, to be out in this heat.
The province says it's expanded firefighter training into the Island Lake region and will review and learn from this wildfire season. Canada's Northern and Arctic Affairs Minister Rebecca Chartrand said in a statement, the concerns raised are priority for the federal government. Indigenous Services Canada says it has given nearly $60 million in advance payments to First Nations, along with air purifiers and generators. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Today was the last day for members of Broken Head Ojibwe Nation to vote on a partnership with sand mining company CO Silica. It was also the only day where voting took place in person. And as the CBC's Bartley Kivas shows us, opponents of the deal held a demonstration outside the hall where the referendum took place.
CO Silica, we're voting no!
About 50 Broken Head Ojibwe Nation members and their supporters stood alongside Highway 59 to demonstrate against a proposed deal with CO Silica. The Alberta Sand Mining Company wants to drill thousands of wells across southeastern Manitoba to reach a sandstone aquifer.
We have some of the best groundwater in all of Manitoba, and they want to take it for profit.
CO Silica has offered Broken Head 5% of its profits, which could work out to $20 million a year once the project scales up. That depends on the province approving an environmental license. Nonetheless, Broken Head's leadership wants band members to sign off on any further talks with the company. The referendum vote is taking place inside that hall, where band members may also obtain their treaty payments and attend a health exposition. CBC News spoke to a number of band members on their way out who said they didn't know enough about the deal to vote.
There wasn't really much information about it. It just popped out of the blue. I only heard of it last week.
Opponents of the proposed partnership accused Broken Head's chief and council of deliberately leaving band members in the dark. The referendum was announced the day before online voting started.
To be able to spring that on us just a day before the vote's called just shows the lack of respect, but also the lack of proper planning. And that maybe this is tactical and a surprise element.
Broken Head Chief Gordon Bluesky declined an interview request. Broken Head's council suggested it made the most sense to hold the referendum during the band's treaty days. In a statement, Broken Head's council said the vote was scheduled at a time when most members are available and gathered in community to ensure maximum participation and transparency. The band's chief in council says they will announce the results of the referendum as soon as possible. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Brokenhead, Ojibwe Nation.
A University of Manitoba music professor is facing charges of sexual exploitation and sexual assault. Winnipeg police allege then 37-year-old Oleg Pokanovsky provided private lessons to a 15-year-old girl at the university between 2007 and 2010. Police allege he groomed her before sexually assaulting her off campus. They began investigating allegations in February of this year and have now charged Pokanovsky with sexual exploitation. The U of M says it is aware of the charges and the professor is now on leave. Well, to Brandon now, where police say the death of a 35-year-old man is considered suspicious. He was found yesterday morning in a yard on 9th Street. Police say the circumstances around the man's injuries have been deemed suspicious, but police are not releasing his identity, and the investigation at this time is ongoing. There are renewed calls for police-issued silver alerts to be sent out to cell phones and mobile devices in this province. The alerts would be issued when a vulnerable adult is reported missing, similar to the way Amber Alerts are issued. It comes as a Manitoba family continues to search for a man with dementia who hasn't been seen in nearly a month. The CBC's Justin Fiacconi has more.
We just want to know you're safe, Stuart. That's all we want to know.
Lana Knorr isn't giving up hope of finding her cousin Stuart Campbell, who's been missing for over 3 weeks. According to Knorr, the 69-year-old suffers from dementia and has recently shown signs of confusion. Campbell's car was found on a dirt road off Highway 2 just east of Starbuck, Manitoba on July 24th.
The only thing is this road might have made him feel like it was home. His driveway was a pathway similar to this.
RCMP searched the area on foot and using drones but found no sign of him. Knorr says she's pretty sure the RCMP are as baffled as they are.
He might have jumped in with a truck driver. He might have got a ride from a farmer. He obviously needed gas and he was going somewhere. We just don't know where, and we need the public's help to try and help us find him.
Knorr wishes that there had been an alert sent out to cell phones in the area notifying the public of his disappearance.
I believe that if we had had that alert, we probably would have had better results of Stuart and where he is.
The province does have a silver alert system in place, but it doesn't include notifications to cell phones, except for one rare instance in February of this year. However, there is currently a petition to the federal government calling for a national cell phone notification system for when adults with dementia or other cognitive impairments are reported missing. Britt Moberg started the petition. Her father suffered from dementia and was last seen in Winnipeg's River East area in December of 2023. She says it's critical that the public be notified of missing seniors with dementia or Alzheimer's as quickly as possible.
The majority of people with dementia are found by the public or through clues that are provided to search and rescue by the public, and so reaching the public quickly is incredibly important.
Stonewall RCMP says it's still following up on tips and leads, and that this is still an ongoing investigation. And for now, his family has not given up hope.
We love you, and we just want to know you're safe. And if you're out there, we're going to help you get home or get help.
Justin Fiacconi, CBC News, Starbuck, Manitoba.
Nurses at Winnipeg's Health Sciences Centre have voted to grey-list the facility. The Manitoba Nurses Union initiated the vote after a string of sexual assaults in and around the facility in July. 94% of nurses at HSC voted for grey-listing. The move does not impact nurses who are already working at HSC, but warns union members and people interested in working there about potential safety issues. All right, you are looking at some images that were taken near Dugald earlier this week. This funnel cloud was among 2 that the Northern Tornadoes Project confirms did touch down in Manitoba on Wednesday. Near Dugald, crop and minor tree damage was reported, while near Birds Hill, tree damage was also reported. Both brought estimated winds of 115 kilometers per hour. All right, we are looking at a bit of an unsettled weekend. Let's get a first check on our forecast now with Helena Mahalik.
It's a bit of a rainy start to the weekend, and with that, we're seeing a chance of some more severe weather. Let's take a look at what's going on in the province. Friday night, there is some severe thunderstorm activity. The most severe is for areas just south of Winnipeg. We are seeing the possibility of a tornado, wind gusts up to 100 kilometers an hour, and quarter to golf ball sized hail with that system. Temperature-wise, we were hovering just a few degrees below seasonal, but up north, we're seeing temperatures closer to 20 degrees. Some areas even dipping below that 20-degree mark. We're going to continue to see temperatures below 20 degrees as we start our day Saturday, but the sun will be out. Around the noon hour, we're going to see the cloud coverage start kicking in, and we are going to see temperatures slowly working their way up. We're not going to get much hotter than the 23-degree mark, a few degrees below seasonal. And at 4 p.m., we are going to start seeing some thunderstorms in the province, and there's about a 60% chance of those showers. And Riley, I'll have your full forecast coming up.
All right, thanks so much, Helena. Still ahead tonight, it's a point of frustration. We will show you one of the ways some Winnipeggers say would help curb bike theft in the city. More on that just ahead. All right, wanted to bring you an update on the referendum on Broken Head Ojibwe Nation that we brought you just a few minutes ago. The no side on that referendum has won. A spokesperson for Broken Head said the vote was 181 against and 129 in favor. Some Winnipeggers say more places to safely stow their bikes are needed in the city. It comes as thousands of bikes are stolen in Winnipeg each year, and recovering a stolen bike, of course, can be challenging, and enforcing theft laws isn't always a deterrent. And as the CBC's Mike Arsenault reports, it is a problem one city councillor says has reached epidemic proportions.
I just retired, so we're pretty much every day we bike.
Ken Beckett and Barb Schwartz are having lunch with family at the Forks, but these two don't lock up their bikes. They'd prefer to keep them close.
We've had bike thefts in the past where my wife's had her bike taken, and you get it stolen once and you get closer to your bike after that.
Nearly 3,000 bikes are stolen each year in Winnipeg, and a very small percentage of them are returned to the owner. Other cities have invested in security measures like bike lockers and more racks throughout the city.
If there was a more secure place, I think then we could actually go inside and eat, and maybe other restaurants. Now we just maybe do takeout and sit outside all the time.
More than 100,000 cyclists have visited the Forks Market so far in 2025. Blair Malistravich says the Forks is always looking at ways to improve bike security. Last year, they implemented a bike valet.
We did a 10-week pilot project in, as you said, the summer of 2024. We found out that people actually weren't really utilizing it, so we couldn't really justify keeping it.
Malistravich says they still offer a bike valet on busier days like Canada Day. Some cyclists, like Patrick Krawick, don't think more secure infrastructure will improve the city's bike theft issues.
I don't think it needs to be costly to create infrastructure so that people can safely park their bikes. I just think closed staple bike racks in public places, that's all we really need.
This is a huge problem in our city, and it's on epidemic proportions.
Councillor Marcus Chambers says the Public Works Committee and all the relevant departments need to come together to combat bike theft.
Whether it's a combination of building bike lockers, whether it's revisiting the bike bait program, where using a bait bike, and if an individual steals that, they're immediately arrested.
But when it comes to bike security, most people I spoke to say the same thing.
Get a good U-lock.
Using the proper bike lock, making it, not a crime of opportunity.
Chambers says the Public Works Committee is open to anything that will help reduce the amount of bike theft in the city. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Sunshine House's mobile overdose prevention site is back on the road. This after the Resource Centre's RV was involved in a collision last month. It's one reason Manitoba's progressive conservatives say the vehicle should be parked permanently. The CBC's Zabina Ahmed reports.
This is Sunshine House's new mobile overdose prevention van. It was donated by the Salvation Army to replace an RV that was totaled in a hit and run in July. Sunshine House says the collision ended up having very little impact on its services. But that's not what Manitoba PC leader Obi Khan says. He says the collision actually led to a drop in overdoses.
There was a 25% reduction in overdose calls to the Winnipeg Fire and Paramedic Services, and there was almost a 30% drop in naloxone kits administered.
Data from the city shows the numbers of naloxone administrations and patients did go down in July, but the numbers fluctuate a lot, and July's totals were still higher than the majority of the past 12 months. Levi Foy from Sunshine House also says the data from the city doesn't show the whole picture.
It's misinformation because so that is the drop in overdose calls to WFPS. That doesn't actually take into account overdoses that we've responded to, or that community partners have responded to, or even that community members have responded to.
Foy says they actually saw an increase in overdoses between June and July.
It's really hurtful that they would come out and they would launch this type of attack against a community-based organization without actually ever speaking to us, without visiting our sites.
Khan is asking the federal government not to grant Sunshine House's exemption to operate the van when it comes up for renewal. Foy hopes the people reviewing that applications will be a bit more cautious about making decisions based on month-to-month data. Zabina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, time for another check on our forecast. Certainly a smoky night last night, another smoky day today. Winnipeg this morning was one of the smokiest places, in fact, on the planet. We are looking at some of that smoke easing a bit as we get into Saturday. Before we get to the weather, thought I'd show you some weather pics this evening. First off, Beverly sent this picture in from Carmen. A beautiful photo of this monarch butterfly on some of those flowers. And I have another one for you this evening too, just because it's Friday. How about this picture from Kim, taken just west of Toulon, a baby fawn having a little nap in the garden there. All right, let's get to your forecast. Helena Mahalik is back now.
Well, the rainfall that we saw beginning Friday is going to carry us all throughout the weekend. Let's take a look at what's ahead for the province. We are going to see some rainfall Friday for many areas of the province along our two borders. But as we get into the weekend, we're going to see that rainfall much more centralized. Saturday, we're going to see a good amount of moisture up north, but some scattered showers are going to be present all throughout the province for areas north of Winnipeg. As we get into Sunday, we're going to continue to see some scattered showers near Winnipeg. And as we get into our week, we're going to continue to see a bigger system coming in, providing much more moisture up north. And again, a chance of showers around Winnipeg as well. So how much moisture are we going to get with a few days of rainfall? Areas along the Saskatchewan border are actually going to get the most of it, especially the Paw. That'll get over 60 millimeters of rainfall if the right system comes through. But many parts of the province are going to get over 20 millimeters of rainfall, especially for places up north. Areas around Winnipeg might not get quite as much, but we are seeing up to 15 millimeters of rainfall for areas around Winnipeg. And we know we could definitely use some moisture in the province, but despite all that rainfall, we're actually going to continue to see some of that smoke getting pushed down into southern parts of the province due to the wind direction. And we are going to continue to see some more centralized smoke coming down, affecting areas around Winnipeg. In terms of our temperatures, we are going to see temperatures at about seasonal Saturday before dipping closer to 20 degrees. And we are actually going to see the temperatures staying quite cool until about midway through next week. In terms of tonight, we are going to see temperatures at about seasonal for our overnight lows. And again, that chance of rainfall is going to be affecting many places of the south, even into the overnight period. The north, we're not quite getting all that rainfall, but places around Norway House will be getting some of that rain, and it will be a mostly cloudy night. As we look ahead to Saturday for the north, that rainfall is going to continue, but we are still going to see the sun out for some parts, especially the far north. But temperatures are going to be quite cool, hovering around 20 degrees or even cooler for some parts. As for the south, we are going to see temperatures again around the 20-degree mark, places like Brandon even dipping below 20 degrees. But we are going to continue to see a bunch of showers as well present through that area. And Riley, I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, thank you so much, Helena. So a lot of information there. I'll briefly recap it. So Westman tomorrow, thunderstorm risk, the potential for funnel clouds, hail, some downpours through the afternoon hours. In the Red River Valley, more of a sun cloud mix through the day with the risk of thunderstorms. Late afternoon into the evening with some scattered showers as well, with some isolated showers here in Winnipeg continuing into the day on Sunday. Very smoky skies through southern Manitoba, really through much of the province once again as we see some of that wind shifting back out of the northwest into Sunday, and of course all of that rain coming for the north. The potential, as you saw, for some communities to get in excess of 50 millimeters of rain. All right, still ahead tonight, there is nothing like a good old handshake to fix things up, right? Well, that is what the CEO of the International Peace Garden is hoping with an event taking place on the Canada-US border this weekend. We'll explain that. And of course, your 7-day forecast coming up after the break. Relations between Canada and the United States have been, well, a little bit tense lately, but the International Peace Garden on the border near Boissevain is hoping to cut through that tension this weekend. The garden is hosting Handshake Across the Border. It's exactly what it sounds like. They are inviting people from both Canada and the U.S. to extend their arms across the 49th parallel and shake hands with citizens of the other country.
We'll start the handshake right around 11 o'clock with a local high school choir singing the two anthems. And we're really encouraging folks to get here as early as possible in case there are long lines getting in. But our staff and volunteers will be directing folks to the different parking lots and then to different attendees along the border channel.
And while you don't have to enter the United States to get into the International Peace Gardens, you do have to go back through Canadian customs on the way home, so take your passport just in case.
The rain definitely isn't going anywhere, and it's going to be a bit of a cooler weekend. Let's take a look at the forecast for the city of Winnipeg. Saturday, we're going to see the start of that rainfall. Despite the rain, it'll still be a very sunny week, but temperatures are going to be a few degrees below seasonal, and we're going to see temperatures dropping down closer to the 20-degree mark by Sunday, and we're going to stay that way until Tuesday as that rainfall finally wraps up. Wednesday, the rain is going to stop, and temperatures are finally going to return to seasonal. Only going to stay that way for about 2 days, though, before the rainfall begins back up again to end our week. We are seeing a chance of thunderstorms with that system, but despite that, we are still seeing our overnight lows at close to 20 degrees. So, Riley, you might want to grab your umbrella as you're heading out.
Noted. Thank you, Helena. All right, so parenthood often involves adopting a bit of a mask in front of the children. No, we're not lost. We're just taking the long way home. But our daily lift here might surprise you a bit. The Prague Zoo is raising yellow-headed vulture chicks with puppet parents. It's part of a breeding program, and it became necessary when actual vulture foster parents stopped caring for their incubator hatch chicks properly. Direct contact with human caregivers would mean the chicks might start identifying with humans, threatening further breeding. It's kind of interesting and also a little bit creepy. That is our program for this Friday. Thank you so much for being with us. If you're bored in the rain, tonight and tomorrow night, I'm hosting The World This Hour over on CBC Radio the next couple nights. So come find me there. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.